Time in space. Understanding the lunar months. A lunar month is the time it takes for the moon to get back to the same phase, like a new moon, for example. It takes 29 days, 12 hours, 44 minutes, and 3 seconds for the moon to complete a lunar month. You may have learned that the moon only takes 27.3 days to finish an orbit around Earth. So a lunar month is over 2 days longer than the orbit of the moon. Since the moon is moving around the sun with the Earth as a component of its orbit, the moon has to hook up a bit on every orbit. Welcome to Brainbender's Solarium. Join us as we travel through space and explore timing in space and the lunar month's time difference. It takes time for the moon to complete a cycle, moving from one observable reference point back to the same point. Sadly, there is a range of different reference points dependent on the observer's viewpoint, and each gives rise to a different form of lunar month. In Shona, Middle Eastern and European traditions, the month begins when the young rising moon first becomes noticeable at night in combination with the sun 1 or 2 days before that evening. This view of the lunar month is represented in the Islamic calendar. In ancient Egypt, the lunar month started when the diminishing moon could no longer be seen just before sunrise. Other viewpoints run from full moon to full moon. The Hebrew calendar, or ecclesiastical lunar calendar, uses calculations with varying degrees of detail. Calendars count integer days, so months can be 29 or 30 days in duration in some normal or irregular patterns. Lunar cycles are prevalent and measured with absolute accuracy in the ancient Hindu Panchang calendar, commonly used on the Indian subcontinent. In India, the month from the conjunction to the conjunction is divided into 30 sections known as tithis. Tithi is between 19 and 26 hours long. The date is named after the tithi ruling at sunrise. If the tithi is shorter than the day, the tithi will jump. This case is called ksaya or lopa. Conversely, the tithi can stall as well. That is, the same tithi is associated with 2 consecutive days. It's known as vridhi. Traditionally, the lunar month in English common law meant exactly 28 days or 4 weeks, so a 12-month contract ran for exactly 48 weeks. In the United Kingdom, the lunar month was replaced by the calendar month for documents and other written contracts under the Law of Property Act of 1925 and all other legal purposes under the Interpretation Act of 1978. As measured in a fixed frame of reference, the actual duration of the moon's orbit is defined as a sidereal month since it is time for the moon to return to the same location in the celestial sphere between fixed stars. The reason for moon phases is that we only see the moon's portion that is lit up by the sun at various angles as the moon passes through its orbit. Visibility depends on the moon's location in relation to the sun as seen from the Earth. The reason is when the Earth circles the sun, the moon takes extra time to catch up and return to the same location in relation to the sun. This longer duration is called the synod month. It is common to determine the locations of celestial bodies with regard to the vernal equinox. Due to various precession, this point slowly travels back along the ecliptic. It also takes less time for the moon to travel to an ecliptic length of 0 than to the same point in the static stars. This significantly smaller period is known as a tropical month. The tropical month of the moon is the same tropical year of the sun. The moon's orbit is an ellipse rather than a circle. However, the direction and shape of this orbit is not static. In particular, the direction of the extreme points, specifically the line of aspides, perigee, and apogee, make a complete circle lunar precession in around 9 years. It takes more time for the moon to return to the same apsis because it traveled forward during a single revolution. This longer period is called an anomalistic month. The apparent diameter of the moon varies with this time, hence this type of month has some significance for the prediction of eclipses, whose magnitude, length, and appearance, whether complete or annular, depend on the moon's exact apparent diameter. The orbit of the moon lies in a plane inclined to the ecliptic plane. It inclines around 5 degrees. The intersection of these planes distinguishes 2 points in the celestial sphere, the ascending and descending nodes. The plane of the moon's orbit precedes a full circle in around 18.6 years, so the nodes travel backward over the ecliptic within the same time. Thus, the time it takes for the moon to return to the same node is shorter than the sidereal month. This is called the draconic month. The draconic month is essential for identifying eclipses. These take place when the sun, the Earth, and the moon are in line. The 3 bodies are in line only when the moon is at one of the nodes. A solar or lunar eclipse is likely at this time. The draconic month refers to the mythological dragon that lives in the nodes and periodically eats the sun or moon during an eclipse. Regardless of culture, all lunar calendar months approximate the average period of the synodic month. The average time the moon takes to pass through its phases: new, first quarter; complete, last quarter; and to new. The moon passes through all these phases in 29 to 30 days, the same length of a month on the Gregorian calendar, currently followed worldwide. Thanks for joining us. We hope you found this video interesting. If so, take a look at some of our other videos you see on the screen now. Also, ring that bell to keep up with new content that we publish weekly. We'll see you next time, here on Solarium.